You are the one our hearts adore. And Jesus, we love you. Oh, how we love.
Good morning, Lake Ridge. I'm glad you've decided to join us. I'm Pastor Evan, and just excited to share with you some things a little bit later on about what it means to slow down on this September long weekend. So, but first let me pray, and then I'm going to pass it over to a few other folks to share a few things. Let's pray. God, thank you so much for the gift of your presence. Thank you that you join us in our living rooms, in our backyards, on our cell phones, in our cars, and everywhere that we might be today. God, I pray, may you remind us that your Spirit goes with us, that you are present with us in the fast times, and you are also present with us in the slower times, that you're present with us in times of great certainty, and that you are also present with us in times of uncertainty. Might you be with us this morning as we talk, as we share, as we listen for your voice in our own life, in our own stories. Pray these things in your name. Amen. Again, I'm glad that you are with us, and I am really excited that we are planning to kind of relaunch a little bit. And whether you're planning to join us on Sunday morning at Our Lady of Wisdom School on September the 13th, or whether you're planning to join us right here live on Facebook, we're grateful that you've spent the time or taking the time out of your schedule to join in what we're trying to do and what we believe God has called us to do.
Oh, hey there! Didn't notice you there. I'm Eric, and I'm the youth ministry leader at Lake Ridge, and I'm excited to do announcements with you guys today. Let me have a quick cup of coffee first. That was good. I've missed you guys, and I'm so excited to announce that next week we're actually going to be gathering in person for Lake Ridge Actual Church. So I'm super excited. So, I have a few things that I want to talk to you guys about before that happens. So, Sunday, September 13th, which is next week, we are going to be meeting in person and online. We're going to be meeting at Our Lady of Wisdom, which we actually haven't done since March, which was about half a year ago. Anyway, we're going to be working with our teams to be ready for you guys, but we do need you guys to sign up and be ready and available for that. So you can find out more information via lakeridgecommunity.com/Sundays. Another exciting announcement we have is Rocket Derby, which is happening on Saturday, September 19th at 1 p.m. We have an engine supplied, but you need to purchase a rocket. And these rockets are super cool. They're anywhere between $20 and $30. You can buy them off Amazon, and they actually have like 2-day shipping on some of them, so you can get them pretty soon and pretty quickly. But we need you to sign up. And if a kid's signing up, it's going to cost $5 per sign up. However, if you are not shooting a rocket, you can come for free and enjoy and watch kids smiling and having fun and running around. And what's better than that? Let me tell you that there's nothing better than that. And if you can give me anything that's better than watching kids smiling and running around, I'll be here waiting. Nothing better? So then you have no excuse. So I'll see every single one of you on Saturday, September 19th at 1 p.m. to come for a good old-fashioned rocket derby and seeing kids launch rockets up into the sky. All the information for that is found at lakeridgecommunity.com/rocket derby. Another cool thing that we're going to be doing is Lake Ridge Lit. So just so you guys know, the cool kids these days, when they find something really exciting, they call it lit. Like, oh, how was that movie last week? The Avengers movie that you guys watched. Oh, a cool kid might say, oh, it was lit. Well, let me tell you, this study is going to be lit. Lake Ridge Lit. It's a book study with diverse authors exploring unity, social justice, and diversity. The first book is going to be called Interrupted by Jen Hatmaker. Here's the thing. Jen Hatmaker is not a hat maker. She's an author, and she will not interrupt you with making hats. That was a good joke, hey? Anyway, starting in September, there's a group called Lake Ridge Lit. If you look it up on our Facebook page, you can find it there. Next exciting announcement is Thin Places that Preston's going to be running. Here's the thing, everyone can come. Even though I'm not a thin person, I could go. Thin Places, it's not just for thin people. Starting September 15th at 8 p.m., sign up is required. LakeRidgeCommunity.com/small groups. What they're going to be doing is they're going to be exploring Celtic Christianity and how we relate to it as in a current day. Another book study coming up called Spiritual Disciples. Have you ever wanted to explore spiritual practices? Have you ever wanted to go deeper with God? I'm assuming that's all of you. So all of you should be interested in this book study that's going to be happening bi-weekly on Mondays from 7 to 9 p.m. starting on October 5th via Zoom. Natasha Bax is going to be running it, and she needs people to sign up. And since every single one of you probably want to go deeper with God, every single one of you want to explore spiritual practices, then I can assume that every single one of you will be joining this Zoom meeting starting on October 5th. Sign up can be found on LakeRidgeCommunity.com/small groups. And last but not least, giving. We thank you so much for your continued support. It means a lot. It keeps me employed. Just going to be honest, I really appreciate it. So for giving, you can find yourselves doing e-transfer, which is giving, can be found at giving@lakeridgecommunity.com. So if you want to send an e-transfer, you can send it to there, which is giving@lakeridgecommunity.com. Or you can do monthly giving sign up through Canada Helps. And all info, if you need to find more info on what's happening and how to give, all of that info can be found on lakeridgecommunity.com/give. Last but not least, I hope you have a great week. And after this video, this exciting announcement video, there's going to be another video, and it's going to be featuring your favorite person, me. And it's going to be our update on what's happening with youth. So stay tuned for a youth announcement video. Love you guys. See you next week in person. Goodbye.
The Lord bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Lord, turn his face towards you
And give you peace.
The Lord bless you and keep you.
Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Lord, turn his face toward you and give you peace. Amen. 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 His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations,
and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children.
may His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May His presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you, He is with you, in the morning, in the evening, in the coming and the going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, 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 He is for you. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, in your family, and your children, and their children, and their children. May His presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you, He is with you, in the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, 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 He is for you.
My name's Eric, and I am the Lake Ridge Youth Ministry Leader, and I am super excited to announce that for the first time in half a year, we are going to be meeting in person, and I'm so stoked about that. I've loved seeing everyone over Zoom, but I gotta say, I missed gathering in person. So I just have a few updates to talk about before that happens. So for those of you who don't know what youth is, I'm just gonna give you guys a heads up. Youth is a gathering of students from grade 6 to 12. My passion is to develop teenagers, both spiritually and emotionally. So my hope is that we're going to be doing that through having fun together, and also developing ourselves spiritually and emotionally through Bible studies and through conversation and just being together as a group. And I'm super excited to do that. A few things that need to be communicated before youth starts. So first of all, youth, the first kickoff day will be Tuesday, September 22nd. On that day, we're going to be doing a lot of fun things. We're going to be there's going to be prizes involved. There's going to be like minute to win it challenges, and I'm super stoked for that all to happen. But before that can even take place, is you need to know some things. First of all, As opposed to previous youth events, sign up is actually going to be mandatory now. So mandatory sign up for every event, whether it's a Bible study or a fun event elsewhere, it doesn't matter. Sign up needs to happen every single time. Why? Because we need to be screening people. We need to know, just like government mandates, that we actually need to have a list of who is there and who is showing up and who's coming. So we need to have you guys sign up in advance. Sign up can actually happen on lakeridgecommunity.com/youth. Super simple, super easy process. Sign up through there. You're going to need to show up with a mask. Mask wearing is not going to be mandatory the entire time. Once we can appropriately social distance and we can be sat down and we're all in our own sections and areas, masks can be removed just like in classrooms now. But for the most part now, you need to show up with a mask. Another thing, hand sanitizer is going to be provided. As you arrive, we're going to be requiring everyone to use hand sanitizer. COVID screening questions. Those are going to be asked as well. There's a series of 5 questions that are going to be asked, both on the sign-up sheet when you sign up online, but also when you arrive, just in case any of those things have changed. It's going to be a bit of a process. You need some patience and grace, but I'm super excited that we get to meet in person, and these are just some of the things that we need to ask in advance. Outside of that, we're actually going to be splitting the youth group this year. It's going to look a little bit differently. There's going to be a group of grade 6 to 8s and a group of grade 9s to 12s. There's going to be specific events throughout the year that are targeted just at grade 9 to 12s, and there's going to be specific events throughout the year targeted at grade 6 to 8s. But there's also going to be specific larger events, like maybe if we can do Laser Quest, who knows, where everyone's going to be invited to, so that we can have large group events. Those are going to be happening throughout the year, usually on weekends, sometime Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. But then after the September 22nd launch, we're going to be starting a Bible study that everyone will be invited to. It's going to be happening at Camp Chestermere. There's a space underneath the lodge. We call it Down Under at Camp Chestermere, but it's going to be, there's going to be signage. If you come up into the parking lot, we'll make sure that you find your way down to the space beneath the lodge, which is actually on the other side of the parking lot, and going down the stairs. If you, when you show up, there's going to be questions that are going to be needed to be asked. But other than that, show up with your mask, be ready to use hand sanitizer, and be ready to be asked questions. This first event is going to be available for everyone, so it's not going to be a split group event, grade 6 to grade 12. There's a lot of information I just gave you guys there. So if you have any more questions and you have any comments or concerns, please let me know. You can contact me via email, eric@lakeridgecommunity.com, or over Instagram. There's a Lakeridge Youth, all one word, Lakeridge Youth, Instagram account that you can send a private message to. Those are both ways to contact me. But other than that, I'm super excited to start youth, and it's going to be a great year. We're going to be gathering weekly, plus bigger events throughout the year as well. So I'm super stoked. Anyway, see you guys later. Thanks for watching.
As I already shared this morning, we're looking forward to meeting together in person on September the 13th at 9:30 at Our Lady of Wisdom School. And whether you are planning to join us in person and experience that firsthand, or whether you're planning to join us online, we're excited that you are taking the time to make Lakeridge a part of your story. And we hope that that these times are good opportunities to connect in community, but also to hear maybe what God is trying to say or speak to you in your own life and your own story. Now, if you had been here with me in my living room, face to face, in my kitchen rather, face to face with me today, you would hopefully appreciate the irony of the sermon topic that I'm going to be sharing today. And it's been a long-standing fact at Lakeridge that Pastor Preston puts together the sermon series, and sometimes I wonder if he is placing topics in front of me that he really wants me to hear, or actually if it is God speaking and trying to get my attention. And so for me, it's kind of confession time this morning that as we explore this topic, it's a topic that I ultimately struggle with in a lot of areas. It's a topic that I think God is constantly asking me to reflect on and to practice. And it's also a topic that that has probably changed me more profoundly than any other topic in my own spiritual faith and my own spiritual journey. However, today, right now in my life, I have to confess, I have to start out confessing that this sermon is a little bit more like some of my parenting, which is do what I say, not what I do, kind of parenting sometimes. And today we talk about slowing down. And to be honest with you, I'm not in a slowing down phase in my life or my story, right? We've been in a sermon series that's been reflecting on time and how does God see time, and like how do we see time, or how do you see time, and how does God see time? How do you use time, and how does God give time to us? Now, basically, for the people of God and the story of God, these people have been reflecting on the use of our time, on the use for thousands of years, right? There have been seasons in the Christian history or in our faith history where we experience the personal stories of people of times of hectic busyness, and then also times of slowing and times of rest. And God has always been profoundly interested in the way in which we use those periods of time. Neither are necessarily bad and neither are necessarily good all of the time. But they are to be seasons of reflection on these things. And Pastor Preston talked last week from Ecclesiastes 3, where essentially is written, there is a time for everything. There's a time to live and a time to die, a time to mourn, a time to celebrate. And the list kind of goes on and on and on. And I think that there are times to seed and there are times to allow things to grow. And each of those requires different postures and times. That passage just talks about how God is present in each of those periods of time. And so I think for me personally, and as I share personally, I think this sermon is as much for me as it is for anyone else. In fact, I think maybe today it's more for me. But I hope that as I share a little bit about my own story, that you get a glimpse into not just what I'm like, that's not that important, but really that you get a glimpse into how I see things so that you might be able to see how you're seeing things. Now, for me and my story, I naturally gravitate towards busyness. In other words, becoming busy is not hard for me. It doesn't take reflection. It really doesn't take thinking at all. I just find myself getting busy, right? I asked myself recently, why is that? What is that about? Is that I don't want to miss out on anything? Is that I am just deeply interested in being active? Is that because I'm trying to prove something to myself and to others about my value? That, the busier I am, the more valuable or the more important I am. And these are some of the questions that I've had to reflect upon in my story, not just in my adulthood, but even as I was a teenager, right? But one of the things that I don't naturally shift towards is from busyness to slowness. It's not a natural thing for me. In other words, when I have gone from times of busyness to times where I feel like even God is inviting me to slow down, there is a sense of of awkwardness to that for me at first, for sure. I have to consciously choose to slow down, to make space for more reflection, for more slowness, for more listening, even for more time with God. That's just something for me, right? And as I have learned to do that on a daily or a monthly schedule as much as I can, I have found actually that my postures change and I do actually become a more listening individual. I I actually even had to train myself occasionally to slow down my speaking so that not only others can keep up with what I'm saying, but really so that I can reflect more on what I'm saying, that my words be less cavalier and less focused on the hurriedness of what life looks like, right? When David writes in Psalm 37, he says, quiet down before God, be prayerful before him. Oftentimes in my life and story, when I've read that or heard that, I've just gone, oh, ouch, like that just seems so convicting to me. It seems like I've missed something, or I'm doing something wrong, or I'm offending God in some way. And as I've grown older, I've had to remind myself that doesn't always have to be a good or a bad thing, but a good reminder that these are the places where maybe God is trying to speak new things or say new things into my life and my story. And so I need to be more intentional about creating space and slowing down and experiencing him in some of those new ways. In Matthew chapter 11, kind of verses 27 and following, Jesus talks to his disciples and those who are there to listen about these unforced rhythms of grace. And I thought I'd just take a couple minutes to read a few of those verses about Jesus as he teaches. And so we're kind of breaking into this passage. And so I'd encourage you to read the whole of Matthew chapter 11, in particular the last half. And I'm just going to start at verse 27, and I'm going to read from the Message. And I want you to pay attention a little bit to the posture of Jesus, these words, and how do these words lead us towards a slowness, and what are the gifts that come from it. And here's how it goes. And Jesus resumes talking to the people. But now he talks to them tenderly, it says. The Father has given me all these things to do and to say. This is a unique father-son operation, coming out of father and son intimacies and knowledge. No one knows the Son the way that the Father does, nor the Father the way that the Son does. But I'm not keeping it to myself. I'm ready to go over it with you, line by line, to anyone and with anyone who will listen. Then he says, are you tired? Are you worn out, burned out on religion? He says, come to me, get away with me, and you will recover your life. I'll show you how to take real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you will learn to live freely and lightly. Now before that, and right before that, he says he doesn't hold back anything. That actually he offers all of these great gifts. And Eugene Peterson in this version says very clearly, to ordinary people. Ordinary people. I think I'm ordinary. And I've actually come to appreciate that I'm an ordinary person. I'm not a sophisticated person. I'm not a person who knows more things or less things or more things than others. But I am just actually quite simply an ordinary person, right? But if we listen to this scripture, right, can we grasp or can we hear that this posture that Jesus is talking about? What gift he is trying to give, right? The Father reveals this to ordinary people, right? Jesus speaking tenderly, explaining that he will share the intimacies and the knowledge of his Father with them. right? This willingness to go line by line through it with anyone who might listen, right? It will show us what rest looks like, what true peace looks like, right? We will experience his grace. And the list kind of goes on and on. I'll admit to you, I'm 40 something. I'm in my 40s of life, and I haven't always found slowness to be a pace that I'm used to, and I've said that already. And I think that as I've learned to slow down, I think there's been an awkwardness to it, and something that's been really hard for me as I've interacted with God. And I think oftentimes even in my pace or my speed, I've accused God of not going fast enough or not being present with me in some of the things that I've been doing. Right? I've actually learned, though, over the last many years, quite a few years, that God actually can keep up with me. That God actually can do his work at the speed at which I would like to go. I think that he can do those things. But to my frustration sometimes, he has shown me that he just doesn't want to. That he just doesn't want to. And I'm starting to wonder if he just doesn't want to for his sake, or if he just doesn't want to because he knows me so well that he knows what it is going to require for Evan to experience him and to reflect upon him. Maybe he knows us. Maybe he knows you. Maybe he knows what you need more than you do. Right? Maybe he knows that the faster and faster that we go, the less and less time we actually have to reflect on things. Maybe he knows that actually, for me personally, but maybe for you as well, that the first part of reflection for me, in other words, the first part of slowing and reflecting, the first part of that, it comes with anxiety for me. It comes with fear. As I slow down, I can sense my soul feeling actually more anxious and more fearful. Going fast helps me sometimes to skip over those things. For a long time, I thought that would be the right way to do it. If I could skip over the fear or anxiety or pain or suffering, all those things, that would be great, wouldn't it? Like, wouldn't it be great to not have to suffer? And yet, I am learning, and actually I learned that some of the root words of suffering means to allow. From the Latin, actually, it means to allow something to happen. I have learned that when I have intentionally allowed myself to slow down, almost like 100% of the time. Okay, so like 95% of the time. Okay, rather. Okay. A solid 80% of the time that I have intentionally slowed down, I've experienced God's peace, God's rhythm of grace, God's gift. I suddenly become less obsessed with being in control. My faith, my trust in him, in my Father, has grown as I've learned to turn these things kind of over to him. I think that today's message is a timely one for us. I think it's timely for lots of reasons, mostly because for many of us, we are coming out of a season of forced slowing down this year. Now, with the forced slowing down, There has come a sense that things have been outside of our control. I think as I have interacted with many of you, lots of us have said, what I don't like about this is that I'm not in control. I can't go back to work. I can't go to the store. I can't send my kids to school. I can't. So many things out of my control. And now, this week, as we begin to relaunch, which of course comes with school, I know some of you have already relaunched your jobs, your busyness, and all of those different things, but I think that as the world begins to relaunch, and we begin to add things back into our lives, that we might be fooling ourselves to think that we are gaining control back. I'm just not so sure that that's true. What if the last 6 months, has been about God giving us some control back in our life and our story and our schedules? For example, giving us control to make healthy choices about what is good for ourselves and our soul, what's good for our families and our families' souls. Right? That actually, right now, we are being given choices to retain some of the family time, maybe, that we have come to enjoy, that we have been given by God. Right? What if God is giving us the choice to choose to rest or to keep rhythms of reading, of growing, of prayer, of relationship buildings? What if God has given us this gift and wants us to retain control of it, to get to know our neighbors, to explore our province, and to experience these things? Right? Just because we have been given back the freedom to choose to fill our schedules doesn't necessarily mean that we should. I want to wrap up with a few questions, and I hope that some of these questions might be good. So you may want to kind of grab yourself a pen as I do these, and if you're following along live or on Facebook, I'll try to put these in the chat right now so that you can reflect on them. But here's maybe some questions to think about. What were some of the benefits of being home more this last year? What were some of the benefits of being home more this last year? What were some of the themes in your own life these past few months? What were some of the themes in your own life these past few months? Where has your mind or your heart taken you to? Where has your mind or your heart taken you to? Was it a good place? Or has that been a difficult place? At this particular time in your life, is it time actually to move forward to officially relaunch? Or actually, is this a time to heal from some of the brokenness and hurt that have happened in the last several months? What might be God be saying to you about what's going to be a healthy speed for you going forward? Right? Now, I may not be good at answering these questions. You may not be good at answering these questions. And I think sometimes when I'm not good at answering questions, I have a tendency to just skip them over and hurry past them. But I just wonder if maybe we were to spend us a little bit of time reflecting on some of these questions. And maybe God might reveal to us some wise ways forward, some ways for us to experience Him, to slow down and to experience the themes and the gift of the rhythms of grace that He talks about in Matthew chapter 11. I just want to challenge us to think about that, to be wise and intentional about what we relaunch, what we re-add into our life and our story. I think one of the themes for us at Lakeridge among our leadership, among our staff, as we prepare to relaunch, is that we believe that God might be asking us to start off slower. Even though we're doing a fun kids rocket event here coming up, that doesn't, and we're going to shoot rockets off. That doesn't necessarily mean that our ministry, our church, needs to be shot off like a rocket necessarily, but rather maybe we need to think more about how we might start off in first gear. First gear is what gets the car moving. Right? I wonder sometimes if we think we want to get back to so fast that we start shifting gears here so quickly as a church, or even in our own life, our own personal lives, that I wonder who will be left behind and what will that look like. And so we've been kind of committed to let's start off in first gear. First gear is the most powerful gear to get things going, to seek and to discern what the Spirit of God is leading us to do as a church. It's profoundly, profoundly important. So I invite you to listen with us, to consider these themes in your own life, but also in the life of our church as we consider to kick this off. May God be present with us as we move at a pace that we allow Him to set, that we experience His rhythms of grace and His wisdom as we move forward as a church. That's what we're hoping for, not just as a church or organization, but that's what I, as your pastor, as your friend, am hoping for you in your own life, in your own story, in your own household, in your own family. I pray that God might be ever present at whatever speed you're going right now, so that you may be able to see Him and experience Him and reflect upon Him. Let me pray for that. God, thank you that you are a God who knows us so well, that you know what speed we are going and you know how to meet us there. Thank you that you are also the God who calls us back to reflecting upon Him, so that we might be able to experience this good rest you talk about, that we might be able to experience your wisdom, that we may be able to lay our hands to the things that you have given for us to work with you on. Be with us this fall as a church. Be with us as we begin to try to regather. Oh, the joy of being together and experiencing each other again. Also, may you remind us of what this past 6 months has taught us about what is important, about what is a good pace, and about how we might experience you going forward. God, may you keep us safe. May you keep us healthy. May you be with our kids these next weeks as many of them go back to school. God, we pray for your protection, for your safety, for all of the things and anxieties and concerns that some of us have. May we be patient with each other. May we make allowances for each other, no matter where we stand on whether this is a good idea or a bad idea. May we do what we can to love each other as you have loved us. I pray, might your Spirit be present with us this day as we go about the things and use the time wisely that you have given for us to use. I pray these things in your name. Amen. Hey, thank you so much for joining us, for giving some time for God's Spirit to speak to you. I hope that it has been worth it. And I hope that you spend some more time today reflecting upon some of these questions that we've been given. I think they are godly questions. And God works in the asking of the questions more than he works in the answering of them. So I encourage you to spend some time doing that. So now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance on you and give you his peace and his rest this day as you go. God bless, and thank you for joining us. Amen.